Hey guys, welcome back. And today we have a new guest. As usual, we have someone different. This time we have someone who's more into the wellness portion and more into yoga and flexibility. So I would like to welcome Ashrita.
Hi, I'm Ashrita. I am a wellness specialist, basically going into all of holistic wellness, counting yoga into it, different forms of yoga, hatha yoga, aerial yoga, acro yoga, aqua yoga, yin yoga as well. Body work, a lot of sound healing, breath work, and I've recently started integrating diet and nutrition as well into the whole platform of my holistic wellness.
That's wonderful to hear that there's a lot of different forms of yoga. For me, yoga is something that I've not really explored. So I would like to learn a lot about yoga from you.
You should try.
So you said the various forms of yoga, right? So before we go into that, I would like to know what made you come into this field of work?
So for me, it was more about doing something on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband Karan was always someone who pushed me to do something on my own, have something on my own terms, where I am not answerable to anybody or work for somebody. That's not a bad thing, but he just wanted me to do that because then we have more leeway as to travel and doing the other things we want in life. So that was something that pushed me to do something of my own. And when it came to the yoga, I actually did some after I finished with my college. I joined as an air hostess at ground staff at Indigo.
Okay.
I enjoyed that job because I used to see the truth in everybody. The hardest goodbyes and the most loving highs, and like people hugging each other and seeing each other after a very long time. So that's what made me really know that okay, this is something that I want to do. I like handling people. I like going into the emotions, getting into things like that with people. Uh, but I wasn't really sure back then. And then I also taught as a teacher. I taught math and English to primary and till 7th standard. Loved that as well. But again, like I said, never wanted to work for anybody. So I took a year gap and I was practicing yoga all along. And that's when I decided that, a friend of mine actually went and did her course. And then she said, why don't you just do the course? Because you're this kind of a person who, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been moving my hands a lot. I'm trying not to, but I'm that kind of a person. I'm very expressive. I have to move my hands and legs. So they were like, you know what? This is something that might suit you because you're all over the place anyways. As a person, I do move a lot. Can't stay in one place. So I've learned to do that over the years, of course, with the yoga, but this has pushed me into the yoga. So that's when I went and got certified in 2017. I did my 200 teacher training in Kerala, and then I did my 300 teacher training in Goa.
So is there a stipulated time that you have to get the course done within, for a dentist, there's a 5-year course. So what is the timeline for a yoga course?
So my 200-hour course was 1 month. It had to be done in 1 month.
Okay.
So I was away for about 28 days.
Okay.
And we had our own setup where, I was completely away from family, friends, everybody. And we had a routine for those 28 days. And we did have a break of 1 day in the week, but it was a tight schedule. And post that, we could do the next 300-hour teacher training immediately, but I wanted to understand and go step by step. So I did my 300-hour a little later. And there is also a certain time period or a certain number of hours that I need to complete to also open a school. So as Zen Yoga Shaila says, it's actually the name of my school.
Okay.
That eventually will happen. But yeah, so that's how it started.
At what stage did you decide, like, I need to get my own sort of studio to start my work? Immediately after finishing the course, or was there like a time break?
Yeah. So I mean, I came up with the name and the having my own setup and stuff, which was mobile, like a mobile setup for the first 1 year.
Okay.
I used to go house to house in Frasertown.
Okay.
Frasertown, why? Because mom's house is right there. So in case I feel hungry, just drop in, eat something, then get back out.
Okay.
But once that stopped, then I used to go around in my area. But when COVID hit, couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But at the same time, things like yoga and stuff it took me a while to get online and figure out, okay, how am I going to explain these things online without touching the person? But that happened. And that's when, so we run a PG, like a service apartment.
Okay.
So I took one of those rooms and converted it to Yogashala, and that was a lot more professional way of doing my classes and having that focus, because I have 13 cats and 2 dogs and 1 husband, so it's like chaos in the house. So I prefer, and more than that, Karan was the one who actually to go up and like have my space and help me, modify that room by liking.
Yes. So when you touched upon the point of online, right? Yeah. So I was always curious, like yoga is something that where you need to get your posture right, and it's always better that the person is there with you when you're doing the other one. Yeah. So how much of a challenge was it when you were doing the online classes?
So it was quite the challenge, especially when it came to the older crowd. Like, okay, the younger crowd, I could tell them, listen, your camera angle, you need to put it like this, like that. So when it came to the older people, it was a little bit of a challenge, but I realized that if I explained to them as to where and how to keep their camera, and also when it came to my instructions, was a lot more, say, I was giving instructions like how I give to a baby. So that kind of helped also with them, because I would be a lot more clear, a lot more direct. Every pose, what exactly they're supposed to feel in that pose. Like, say, for example, they're twisting their spine, and say the right shoulder is open, left shoulder goes in. So then I tell them that and tell them that they need the right side of the chest open up or stretch. So then they know that, okay, fine, I'm doing it wrong because I'm not feeling. So then otherwise they tell me, I didn't feel the stretch. So was I doing it wrong? So then I get to correcting them in that posture. So the other thing is like trying to keep the camera in a good spot that I can see them. But yeah, there are times that I can't see the correct posture. So then I ask them, are you feeling the stretch here? Are you feeling the stretch there? With regard to whichever pose it is. So yeah.
Great. So I mean, when you start something, the first client is always very special. Yeah. So who was your first client and how did that go?
My first client was a very close old friend of mine. And she was getting married at that point. So, and she was going to leave India as well.
Okay.
So it was all about, getting her into her wedding dress and things like that. Though yoga doesn't work so fast, but I did modify her thing into a little bit of power yoga sort of a thing. So she was actually very happy that she could, get into her wedding dress. She had already made so much of the effort herself. And yeah, she's always been my first special client, and now she's in Canada. Yeah,
she's still your client?
Not really, because I guess work also got to her, and then the time difference. Wow. But yeah, I mean, when she comes, of course, she always hits me up. She's always cheered me on with whatever I'm doing now.
That's great. So you touched on the different forms of yoga, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I just know there's yoga and there's something called as power yoga.
Yeah.
So when I follow your stuff, so I see there's different forms of yoga.
Yeah.
So if you could just give us in brief, like what exactly each form is.
Okay. So yin yoga, for example, it's a lot slower. It is for, say, for women who are on their periods. Say, for example, any person who has injuries. So each pose is held for a longer time.
Okay.
Hatha yoga is something that is like a pose is held for say 5 to 10 breaths, but yin yoga the pose is held for say 20. So it's a lot more slow, a lot more. Um, um, it's very easy, I would say, on the body. Hatha yoga is little bit faster than that. And then there's vinyasa flow, where you go one pose into the other with the rhythm of it. Then there is aerial yoga, where you're hanging from the aerial silks. Basically, that helps with your flexibility, mobility. Say, for example, now for myself, I'm there to stretch my client, and then who stretches me out?
Yeah.
So then that's when I came up with this, that, what, I need something that for me, like I can use at my disposal. So that's when I got into aerial yoga. I went for a class or two and really loved it, and saw the difference in my body with just that one class. And that's what I then thought, that, okay, this is what my clients need. Then, see and witness and be a part of it. So, aerial, literally, like how I market it is, I mark the height of a person, and then after the class, I mark the height again, and for sure they've at least grown half an inch. So, I mean, I shouldn't say grown, but the spine decompressed. And also, it's like natural Botox. So, we are either lying down or standing up or sitting up for most of our lives, right? Like, I'm 33 now, and like, we've only been lying down, sitting up, all of that. Imagine a bottle of oil, okay, that you've kept for 33. Now you'll see these sediments down. So that's what's happening to our organs. Okay. So when you suddenly turn upside down, turn that bottle upside down, what happens? All the sediments also move around. So that's what's happening with your organs as well. So when you're turning upside down, you're there for some time. Your organs get pressed on the other side as well. And that improves your metabolic system, helps with your digestion, helps your face, your skin, all of that. Helps really decompress your spine as well, so your posture also gets better. You can open up the shoulders, and helps even with your hips to open up. So even when you're walking, your walk itself changes. So there are some people who walk inwards, some people who walk outwards. So to get that free flow of motion in the hips, it helps to do it. So then there is acro yoga. Acro yoga is with your partner. So people who want to get into it as a couple, they start with acro yoga, or they have a girlfriend or a guy friend, whatever. So acro yoga is with your partner, a lot more fun. Somebody's the base, and then there's the flyer. So, and it can be vice versa. It's a lot of fun, basically. Also, acro yoga kind of helps to understand the person better, understand your partner better, and that only helps when you have understood yourself as well. So it kind of helps in relationships as well to balance things out. Then there is aqua yoga, where it helps with people who are overweight, have joint issues. I had a client who couldn't walk, two clients who couldn't walk, and she used to eat because she did. And they had told her to do some physio but the physio wasn't going to really help her lose weight. And she was very scared of water. So when her daughter came to know about me, she called me, we spoke first and did all of that. Then I said, okay, instead of getting into the bigger pool, we'll get into the baby pool. So we started with that. And obviously, because of the buoyancy in water, our weight is a lot lighter. So she could do so much of movement in the water. So that gave her, boosted her confidence on another level. So she was very excited, very happy. So that would make her come for class. And then slowly, after a while, I pushed her into the bigger pool and started walking in the bigger pool, doing things like that. And in about 3.5 to 4 months, she came down without her wheelchair. And I didn't know about this. Apparently, a week back, she had started walking in the house. Okay. She didn't tell me anything. Then when I went there one day, she's come down with the helper without the wheelchair was there, but she was walking. So I was in shock. I was like, how are you walking? Are you okay? So she said, no, I wanted to surprise you with this. So it was really cool. Like these are the kind of stories, like small success stories that I have. But these are things that keep me. So yeah, that is in regard to aqua yoga. I think I covered it all.
So, in terms of, I mean, you covered the overweight.
Yeah.
So, in terms of, let's say, a lady who's pregnant, okay, so and she wants to maintain this one, what form of yoga do you recommend yoga first of all to a pregnant woman, or?
Yeah, depending obviously on her doctor.
Okay.
So it depends on whether she has done yoga before or whether it's the first time. So if it is the first time and she's pregnant, then we would take a lot of caution. And there would be only up to probably the second trimester that we could. And after that, I don't think it's advisable. But yeah, it also depends on the.
So now, I think you started in 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how has the journey been for the last 7 years?
So it's actually been crazy. Like with my first year of me going door to door, and then with my second year of slowly getting into one place, trying to do things online, all of that. It's been a tremendous change of things that I've gone through with Zen Yoga Shaila. But it's actually been great because I've been able to learn. I've been able to upskill myself as well. Every year I try to do something small to skill up. But it's really been great. It's been challenging, but at the same time, I've always been that person to, like, say if somebody asks me, uh, where do you see yourself or where do you see Zen Yoga Shala in the next 5 years? I don't have an answer to that because I believe in, every step is something else. Like I yes, I do manifest it, but whether it happens or not, I don't want to have that thing. In 5 years, I should, if what if it doesn't happen? I don't want to put that on myself. Whatever I've gone through, I think has been good things. There are bad things as well, but I've learned from them, gotten better, learned to figure out how to balance classes, workshops, and my corporate sector. So it is just that you have to be really have that boundary. And my boundaries are getting stronger and stronger, right? Because generally, like at the beginning, it was a very thin line that I would, balance on. But now my boundaries are really strong, where I know that okay, fine, if I can do this, then this is probably going back. I don't want to push myself.
See, whenever we run a business of our own, there's always going to be challenges, which you said.
Yeah.
So, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced in the last 7 years?
The biggest challenge for me would be self-doubt. Like when it came to doing certain things, I would check myself or try to I wouldn't know if I'm doing it right or not. So thankfully, to overcome that, I had really good teachers. I had really, really nice peers as well, like the people I went and did my course, all my courses with. And at any point of time, I could pick up the phone and call my teacher, whichever teacher it was, and have that conversation. Tell him or her that, this is what I'm facing or the issue that I'm facing. Or, so and so client, like this is the scenario. I've done this, but now, like, is there like anything else I can do there? Anything else that I need to put an effort for? And then they would guide me. So that's the only way that probably I've had, any kind of challenges like self doubt. But my teachers that way have helped me go past, and obviously like support family and friends, that also has helped a lot.
So when you have your studio, right, you basically have a set timings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, what are your timings and like, how do you manage?
So generally my classes start by 7:30. I come down for lunch by around 12:30 sometimes, or 1:30, depending if I have a 12:30 client. But I make sure I come down for lunch and then start again by 3:30 and go all the way up to 6:30, 7 sometimes. But yeah, nowadays there are some clients who are asking this because my mornings are completely full. So I only have the evening slots free. So I either have to see if I can extend for till 8, that is 7 to 8 also have another slot. Then kind of helps. But yeah, otherwise it's basically 7:30 to 7. Yeah.
So you do more of a one-to-one session, or like do you conduct like a small group class?
So I have just one group class, but everything is, so it's either online or offline. So either they come to my studio or I online. So I do have few clients from New Zealand, Bahrain, Berlin. So with few of them, it's all online. Some in India as well, Chennai, Bombay. So with them, it's all online. But most of them who are here in Bangalore, they make it a point to come. There are a few clients who are really far away. At least once in a month if they're traveling. But they do try and make it for a class, depending on what they need also. So it's either a yoga class or either just aerial yoga or a body work session. So things like that.
So see, when we go to gym, we have like a set guideline, like you either work 3 days, 4, 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there like something like a schedule, like in a week you need to do this many classes so that your flexibility improves?
So yeah, I mean, if you're looking at flexibility as your goal, then it would help to do it on a day.
Okay.
So be more consistent with practice. So I would say at least 5 days a week.
Okay.
So and you get your 2 days to just rest it out as well. But at least 5 days a week. Keep a goal of if flexibility is your concern, then that is something that flexibility and mobility takes time. And sometimes if you've gone for a vacation and come back and you try to push yourself, you will see that, oh, I couldn't do this earlier, but suddenly I can, but you thought that, oh, because of this vacation, you're not going to be, depending on how long that vacation is also. But yeah, you'll be surprised how your body reacts. So there are times that, I've been pushing myself. I have my own practice as well. And then suddenly I go on a break and then I go back and I was like, taking like 5 days gap. I can't, I need to get back into this. And suddenly I'm doing something and, oh, I can touch my forehead to my knees. I could never do that before, so things like that. So suddenly you'll get it. So that's called a break. So yeah.
I always had this doubt. Okay, so whenever you go to the gym, your body tends to become a little bit more stiff. Flexibility gets compromised. But yoga, on the other hand, it's all around, but it also focuses a little bit on the flexibility part. If you combine both, is it good for the body, or are you overworking the body?
It's actually good for the body because if you do, say, 3 days of gym and 3 days, that would be the perfect time. So you also then learn how to stretch pre-workout also. Going to do your pre-workout stretches as well. So that will help your muscles also learn that, okay, like I am building muscle, I need to form that shape, but at the same time maintain that. So you're basically teaching your muscle.
But it's not recommended to do both the same thing.
We can, of course, yeah. We can.
Usually they say don't do.
You can break it up, like probably do more of the stretches before and then do a few stretches after as well. So, I mean, that's what I used to do when I used to do. Just that now I just have things in the studio, so I just do everything in the studio.
So, in terms of studio, right, like I'm sure there's a lot of other competitions as well. Like you will have a lot of other studios. Now, when a client is basically looking for a yoga studio, so what exactly should they look at, and how do you like differentiate yours from the others? So, I will tell you the difference between mine and like another yoga studio would be I look at this as a whole holistic experience. It's not just the yoga for me. So till now we've spoken just about the yoga. But it's not just about. I've also done certifications in sound healing, breath work, body work, diet, and there are so many somatic practices as well. So it is more of taking care of your emotional needs, your mental needs, helping you grow spiritually as well, where that kind of opens you up to leading to a better practice with your yoga or with your gym or whatever it is. So when it comes to that, it's a lot more holistic for me, where I go deep into the client's life. It's not just they just come for a class and then off they go. It's a lot more than that. Where even if they come and tell me that, okay, fine, like I have pain in my knee after yesterday's class, then it's which knee it is. What exactly did you do after that? What asanas did we do that released class for your knee to hurt? And then also the way they walk. Okay. So, there are so many things that come in, come in play when I'm thinking of these. So it's a lot more holistic. How they're feeling at that point. What exactly is happening in their life at that. I have a lot of clients who are going through various different things. So that itself, like I said in the beginning, I have that, like I click with people. There are certain things like the impact in me kind of very strong. And obviously my own practice has helped me be a lot more empathetic in my ways. So I was always like that, but this has kind of helped me go a lot more deeper into that. And automatically, even when I get clients, they open up to me even without me asking. So I realized that, okay, that side of it also is there, where I never knew I had it until and unless I started having these clients who would just open up to me and who would just say certain things that I would be like, "Did you really? Okay, fine. This must be something that she's really, really upset about, or she's really, really trying to do, but it's not happening." So that's where I started pushing. I push them to try to see or figure it out themselves. So I kind of have like this small innate feeling that I'm like part counselor as well. I do my psychology, but at the same time, I'm not qualified for it. I do, like, if in case it gets a lot more, then I do have I tell them that this probably
talk to somebody and this is what it is. But everything else I'm there. You know? So then it kind of helps them to, when they're doing their talking, they're doing, so the mind also mentally they're feeling better. That helps them really focus when it comes to their physical state and their emotional state. And that kind of helps with, like, even, like they say, there is a lot of fear that is stored in the hips. And that's why sometimes hips are very tight. Okay. So all of this plays a big role in how we function. So even when there are certain things like somebody says, okay, have pain, there is a connection of it. So I do have a book on that as well. And that helps me understand people better. And then they also are like, oh yeah, like this is something that has been playing on my head. And I didn't think that this was the connection, you know. So it helps them understand themselves better as well.
It's great that you touched the point about the mental health because nowadays, because of the work pressure, everything, there's a lot of mental stress that every individual goes through.
Yeah.
So let's say if someone wants to think about yoga, ideally, what form of yoga should they start at to, sort of smooth their way and sort of break that stress away from the head?
So I would say probably start with sound healing.
Okay.
Sound healing and breath work would be something to start off with if you're looking at the mental health space. And then probably get into the yoga, get into some Zen yoga, get into some hatha yoga, basic poses, basic asanas, but to get the breath and body aligned in a rhythm. So say like in your Surya Namaskar, you inhale when your body is opening up and you exhale when your body is closing up. So finding that balance itself will help with mental health aspect. So, and again, help with the emotional state as well. Helps with spiritual growth as well. So all of this comes hand in hand, and that's very important for me because from the beginning of time, I can always that every time I end the class, I tell them to get up, rub their hands together, and place it on their eyes and say thank you to the body. So because they made the effort. So their mind has made the effort, their body has made the effort to come on the mat today. And also for their soul to, it's fulfilling whatever, they've done for themselves. So to give them that, that, okay, shabash, you've done it.
Good job.
So that is something that helps everybody, I guess, because then I've always seen them like opening up their eyes and always smiling and like, thank you so much.